Hello everyone, today's video is all about tax relief for employment related expenses. So what can you claim on your tax return as an allowable deduction if you are an employee? Now, the fundamental concepts with regards to tax deductions for employees, three things. Is the expense wholly, exclusively and necessary for the performance of your duties as an employee? So they're the three things, the test that it has to pass. Is that expenditure that you've incurred, is it wholly and exclusively for your business that you are employed in as the employee? And also this one, necessary. Now compare this. If you are a sole trader, you're self-employed, it's a lower benchmark because the rules say for exactly the same expenditure, you don't have to meet the necessary test. So sole traders can get a wider range of tax deductions because it doesn't have to necessarily be necessary for their sole trader business. You may have spent something frivolous that's not necessarily necessary for their sole trader business. Nonetheless, business related, get the tax deduction. But for an employee, it's a higher benchmark. You've got to hit this necessary criteria as well as the wholly and exclusively. So what prompted me to make this video today was a recent court case which I read, and it basically hinged on this concept, and it involved a hospital doctor. So this guy worked for the NHS, so he was an employee, several hospitals, and he was in a bit of a dispute with his the General Medical Council, and they suspended him. Basically, I don't know what he was up to, but they suspended him, and he basically fought his corner, and he paid about 30 grand, £30,000 in legal fees to defend himself, to try and get off this allegation or whatever the heck it was that he was doing. And so then, when it came to doing his tax return for that year, he put in the box where it says job-related expenses that he'd incurred personally, put in 30 grand for those legal fees for defending himself against this claim by his union. And HMRC looked at it and they basically said, no, you can't have that as a tax deduction. And it went to the tribunal, and the tribunal basically sided with HMRC and said, look, this guy, yes, the 30 grand that he paid was to do with his profession as a doctor and all the hassle that he had of having to defend himself. You know, it was to do with his being a doctor, but it wasn't necessary for the performance of his duties. It just put him in a position to be able to continue to work at some point in the future, but it wasn't a necessary requirement of that particular job for the NHS that he spent several thousand pounds, several tens of thousands of pounds defending his reputation through the courts. So, tax relief denied. So an interesting case. Basically, they said, look, this is personal expenditure. It's not business expenditure. So do be careful if you are in this boat, i.e. an employee, but nonetheless, you do incur expenditure for work that you pay for yourself, and you want to claim it back, and the way you do it is on your tax return. So, you know, ask yourself the question, is this wholly and exclusively and necessary for my job, this expenditure that I'm trying to claim tax relief on? So, just an overview there on the fundamentals of tax deductions for expenses for employees, and a recent court case where the guy was denied such tax relief. So, if you like this video, please do subscribe, and as always, I'll see you soon.